We're going back on the record. The time is 1:01 p.m. This is the beginning of media unit number 3.
Okay. Did you ever associate with Dr. Letitia Reed at UWM?
Did I associate with her?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
In what capacity?
She was a assistant professor at UWM. I don't know, just regular. I don't know what specific ways but she was an assistant professor in the School of Leadership, I think, and I was a curriculum instructor.
So it's fair to say that you worked with people at UWM who you also worked with at MPS.
I did work with Letitia Reed. Not necessarily, I mean, we worked in the same organization. We didn't work together.
Okay. I'm going to refer you to Exhibit 3, page 8. Paragraph 18, it says, in May of 2020, complainant served on a hiring committee for the position of MPS Curriculum and Instructor Senior Director. Is that accurate?
That's what it reads, yes.
Okay, and would that have been for your position as Curriculum and Instruction Senior Director in May of 2020?
I'm not sure, because I know that the position was reposted, so I don't know when this particular committee was.
Okay, why was the position reposted?
I have no idea.
How do you know that it was reposted?
Because it was listed as a research or whatever a repost or something like that.
Okay. And then it says the hiring committee passed along 2 candidates, one white and one Hispanic. Dr. Posley rejected both candidates. Is that an accurate reading?
It's an accurate reading.
Okay. Goes on to say, is it correct that complainant served on the hiring committee in May 2020, and it is true that Dr. Posley rejected the 2 candidates that were advanced from the committee? Dr. Posley interviewed both of the candidates and rejected them based on their performance during the interview. Is that an accurate reading?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know whether that's true or false?
I have no idea.
Okay. It goes on to say it is not unusual for Dr. Posley to reject candidates that are brought to him to fill position, and it has happened many times over his tenure as superintendent. Is that an accurate reading?
It's an accurate reading.
Do you have any knowledge of whether or not Dr. Posley has ever rejected candidates that are brought to him?
I have no idea.
Okay, so to your knowledge, Dr. Posley has not rejected any candidates?
I don't know if he has or not.
Okay. On page 9, paragraph headed started 19 says contemporaneous.
I'm sorry, paragraph what?
19. Contemporaneous text between complainant and Tina Flood, current principal and one-time chief academic officer, revealed that the perception that Dr. Posley's rejection was very questionable. Is that an accurate reading?
Yes.
Okay. Goes on to say, Tina Flood confirmed that she spoke with complainant regarding Dr. Posley's rejection of the 2 candidates, but Ms. Flood thought that she spoke directly with the complainant, and it did not send any text messages on the subject. In either case, Ms. Flood confirmed that it was her opinion that the 2 candidates that were sent to Dr. Posley were well qualified, and she was surprised when he rejected both of them. Is that an accurate reading?
Yes.
Okay. Paragraph 22 states, ultimately, Dr. Holliday and Dr. Posley hired Dr. Felicia Saffold as MPS Curriculum and Instructor Senior Director on October 19th, 2020. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what busy work is?
Yes.
What is busy work?
How I define busy work would be things that are not significant to waste time. That would be busy work.
Okay. And I'm going to direct you to page 12. In the middle, the paragraph starts, Dr. Saffold denies. And it says, Dr. Saffold denies giving complainant busy work. She treated complainant the same as complainant's colleagues in terms of assigned work. Is that an accurate reading?
Yes.
Is that a true statement?
I'm going to object the form question. It's been asked and answered, but go ahead and answer it again.
I would say it's a true statement.
Which statement are you talking about?
That I deny giving complainant busy work. And yeah, I mean, I don't know where this is coming from or the statement, but I would say that's a true statement.
Okay. And it goes on to say other employment actions purposely belittling an accomplished professional and purposefully retaliating. Dr. Saffold denies belittling or retaliating against complainant. Dr. Saffold admits that there was an incident during a CNI meeting on November 30th, 2020, where she felt so disrespected by complainant that she finally asked complainant whether she was ever interested in getting to a solution or just wanted to talk. And complainant responded that she just wanted to talk. Is that an accurate reading?
Pretty much. I mean, you misread a word or two, but yes.
Okay, is the statement accurate?
This, other than knowing the exact date, yes, that's true.
So you don't know what day the meeting took place, but you do admit that the meeting happened?
I do. There was a meeting where what this is describing did happen. I don't know if it was November 30th.
Okay. Why did you feel so disrespected by the complainant at that meeting?
As it says here, because the complainant, I'm assuming, again, this is out of context, but the incident that I recall is that Debbie Keither was having a back and forth, challenging everything I said, continuing to bring up things that happened in the past. And it finally came to a point where I said, are you interested in resolving, or do you just want to talk? And she said, well, I just want to talk. And so at that point, it was clear she was not interested in moving forward, which is what I continue to say. My meetings, my interactions were about how do we move the C&I department forward. And in this particular encounter, when she finally said, when I asked, are you interested in a resolution or do you just want to talk? Because she was talking over me. She said, I just want to talk.
Okay. You said, based on the things that happened in the past, what things that happened in the past did Debbie Keither bring up in the CNI meeting on November 30th, 2020?
Check the form question. It's broad and vague. Go ahead and answer if you can.
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Can you repeat the question?
You said, based on the things that happened in the past, what things that happened in the past did Debbie Keither bring up in the CNI meeting on November 30th, 2020?
So, again, I don't know about the date, but in this particular meeting, Debbie Keither continued to talk about what things didn't work before, what things, just the things from the past, from her perspective, where CNI wasn't heard, where
what? I'm sorry.
where CNI wasn't heard. And so we just kept going back and forth. I was like, but and I kept on pushing, but we're talking about now, we're talking about today, we're talking about, and she just kept on saying, but this and this and this. And then finally I said, are you even interested in coming to a solution, or do you just want to talk? Because she kept on talking over me, and she said, I just want to talk. So that's why I would say I felt so disrespected.
Okay. And other than bringing up the past, what did you want to talk about at the meeting?
At this time, I don't know what the meeting was about, but I wanted to get through the agenda,
Okay.
whatever the agenda was at that time.
And do you now have awareness that Calvin Furman told Debbie Keither to bring her complaints to you?
I don't understand the question. Do I now know?
Do you have awareness of whether or not Calvin Furman directed Debbie Keither to bring his complaints or concerns to you?
No.
Okay, and after you read the email from Calvin Furman, did that change your awareness or not?
I'm not sure what email you're referring to.
Okay. It goes on to say, Dr. Saffold felt the incident was serious enough that she met with complainant on December 2nd to discuss it, and on December 4th, she issued a supervisory letter of concern to memorialize the meeting and set future expectations. Is that an accurate reading?
Yes.
Is that an accurate statement of the facts?
Check the form, Chris. It's been asked and answered. Go ahead and answer again.
Again, I don't know the date, but there was an incident where Dr. Debbie Keither was going back and forth with me. She said she just wanted to talk. She wasn't interested in resolving anything. I did think that was severe enough to give her a a supervisory letter, to have a supervisory meeting followed by a letter. I don't know if that was on December 2nd or when it was.
Okay. And when you discussed the letter with labor relations, what did they tell you that you needed to include in the letter?
Jeff asked me to go ahead and answer again.
Well, in the letter, they said I had to summarize what happened in the meeting. The meeting with labor relations was how to conduct the meeting. And so they told me how to conduct the meeting, and followed by the meeting to write a letter stating what the allegations were, what the respondents' comments were, and what the next steps were.
Okay. Was there anything that was discussed in the December 2nd meeting that was not in the December 4th letter?
Not that I recall. I don't know. Again, I don't know the dates, but whatever happened in the meeting, I would assume was captured in the follow-up letter.
Did you have any assistance writing up the follow-up letter?
I had guidance from Elizabeth Fergoli on how to write the letter.
Was that in a separate meeting?
I don't know when that. I don't know if it was a separate meeting or not. That Elizabeth Fergoli walked me through the process.
Okay. And why then did it take you at least 2 days to write the letter regarding the meeting?
Again, I don't know. Probably to, I mean, it's not my only task to do. I probably did it as soon as I could do it, and as soon as I made sure that it was, and actually I'm pretty sure I sent it back to Elizabeth Fergoli before I sent it out, because I knew it was an official documentation.
Did she make any changes to the letter?
I don't recall.
But she did review it.
I don't recall, but I'm pretty sure she did, because I was getting guidance and I wanted to make sure I did it the right way.
And did you get guidance from anybody other than the person you indicated?
Other than what?
Other than from labor relations?
No.
Okay. I think we're on 4. Okay. So the first page of this is a email from Calvin Furman to Matt Chasen. Is that correct?
And just by this, we're talking about Exhibit 4, correct?
Exhibit 4, thank you.
So what is your question?
My question is this, the first page of Exhibit 4, an email from Calvin Furman to Matt Chasen.
That's what it looks like.
And what's the date of the email?
December 30th, 2020.
Okay. And does it say, "Hi, Matt, the attached letter is the supervisory letter from Dr. Saffold"?
Yes.
Okay. But you never spoke to Calvin Furman except for the one time in November, is that correct?
I don't recall talking to Calvin Furman any more times.
Okay. So let's look on page 2 of this document. Have you seen this page 2 before?
Yes.
Okay. In what capacity have you seen this before?
I wrote it. Well,
Okay.
I don't know if I wrote this because I'm just now seeing it, but I wrote, so this would be the follow-up from the supervisory letter.
Okay. Based on your authorship and signing this letter, do you have any reason to believe that the document is not what it says it is?
This looks like the document that I wrote.
Okay. And so just to be clear, everything in this document is going to be reflected in that meeting as well, right?
This would have been a summary of the meeting, correct?
Okay. So let me read it for you and you can tell me if this is what it says. Dear Miss Keither. Is that accurate?
Yes,
Why doesn't it say Dear Dr. Keither?
because didn't have the doctorate title at that time.
Okay. It goes on to say, we met on December 2nd, 2020 for a supervisory meeting to discuss your behavior and performance. In addition to you and me, Angela Ford and Michelle Wade were present as your selected representatives. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And it goes on to say, at our meeting, we discussed the following information. Your behavior at the 11/30/20 leadership meeting where you were confrontational, disrespectful, and rude to me. Is that an accurate reading?
Yes.
And it goes on to say your behavior at the 11/23/20 leadership meeting where you exhibited the same behavior noted above. Is that an accurate reading?
Yes.
Okay. It also says I referenced the following policies, Administrative Code 6.07 and the Employee Handbook regarding professional conduct. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Did you reference those policies?
Yes.
Okay. And it goes on to say, I stated that the above behavior was unacceptable and would not be tolerated. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. And it goes on to say, when I asked you if you had anything to say in response, you said that you had nothing to say. Is that an accurate reading?
That is correct.
Okay. And at the bottom it says, if you commit similar acts as those described in this letter in the future, disciplinary action may be taken up to and including termination. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Okay. And is that a fact?
Yes.
Okay. Great. Now I'm going to point you to what I have as page 4, which is the back of that page. Do you have that there? It says at the bottom, MPS KUE 002227.
I just
No.
have 3 pages.
Okay. This, I think, is another turning copying error here. Do you also have 3 as well?
No. I don't know. Is this 3?
Those are the 3.
Do you have a back to this page? That's what I'm asking.
I don't have a back to this.
Wait, if you would please copy that. 2 copies, please.
Oh, I have, I think I got all these copies.
Okay.
I have them right there.
So I'm gonna. Great. Can we add this to Exhibit 4?
Sure, why don't we do this one?
Just the top one.
Okay. And this is the back of the first page of
It should be
Exhibit 4?
page 3 in there.
This is page 3 or
Yeah. So there's an email from
Furman?
Furman on the first page. There is the supervisory letter on the second page.
Okay.
This email from Saffold to Furman on the third page, and then the transcript on
Okay.
the fourth page. Okay.
Why don't you, let's put it on the record what exactly is in Exhibit
I,
4, just so we know.
okay, and maybe as another alternative, we can just mark this as Exhibit 5.
Whatever way you want to do
Would
it.
that be easiest if we can just take this email as
However you
Exhibit 5?
wanna do
I
it.
appreciate that.
Okay,
Let's do it that way. This is 5. Okay. So you have Exhibit 5, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And have you seen this document before?
Well, I'm not sure how to answer. I mean, based on the email showing that the email is from me, I had to see it, but I don't remember it.
What about that question do you not know how to answer?
Well, I'm just trying to figure. Are you meaning have I seen it? Like, if this is an email from me, then obviously I seen it. So yes, I guess I seen it.
Okay, thank you. So this is, as you said, an email to you. Who is it from you? Who is it to?
Calvin Furman.
Okay, and Calvin Furman, just to clarify, is the person that you only spoke to once about Dr. Keither, correct?
It would be the same Calvin Furman that I didn't recall having any other conversation with. Correct.
Okay, and what's the date of this email?
December 16th.
And is there an attachment to it?
I don't know. It says there's an attachment.
And what does it say the attachment is?
Keither supervisory letter.
Okay, what's the subject of the email?
Letter for Keither.
Okay, and does it say hello, exclamation point? Somehow I neglected to send you the actual letter. Sorry, exclamation point?
Yes.
Okay. Why did you send this letter to Calvin Furman on December 16th?
At this, I don't remember. But obviously he must have asked me for something. He must have asked for it, and I must have been responding to it.
Do you believe he asked you by email?
I don't recall because I don't even recall this incident, but clearly it happened. I don't know how he asked for it.
But you are admitting that you sent him the Keither supervisory letter of 12/3/20 on December 16th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So now I'm going to page you turn your attention to what we have entitled the transcript of Saffold's supervisory meeting with Debbie Keither. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And it says that this, it notes the date there of December 2nd, 2020 at 3:30 p.m. Does that sound about when you had the supervisory meeting with Deborah Keither?
No idea.
Okay. Would you have sent a meeting invite to Deborah Keither regarding this meeting?
I would have.
Okay. And do you have any reason to believe that your calendar as it stands today would not contain that invitation?
No.
Okay. Do you have any reason to believe that your emails as they stand today would not contain that invitation?
No.
No. Okay. It goes on to say present, Michelle Wade, Debbie Keither, Angela Ford, Felicia Saffold, Portia Diggins. Is that an accurate representation of who was present at this meeting?
I actually don't recall. I remember Michelle Wade, Debbie Keither, and Angela Ford. I didn't remember that Portia Dickens was there, but she probably was.
Who is Portia Diggins?
Yeah, my administrative assistant.
Okay. And what would her role have been at this meeting?
Just serve as a witness,
And why would you need a witness at this meeting?
because of the hostile encounters and interactions. I wanted someone to be there to be able to attest to the fact what happened during the meeting.
And you're the supervisor, to be correct?
I'm what?
You're this Debbie Keither's supervisor at this time?
Yes.
Okay. And you needed a witness to appear in a meeting with your subordinate employee?
I felt more comfortable having a witness, correct.
Why did you feel more comfortable?
Because at every interaction with Debbie Keither, it was hostile, it was rude, it was disrespectful, it was difficult. And so I wanted someone to be able to be there to witness what happened during this supervisory meeting, because this was a pretty serious meeting, and I wanted to make sure that someone was there to witness what happened.
Did you ever have any positive interactions with Debbie Keither?
I don't really recall. I know when I first started, maybe the first day or first couple days, I do recall a time when she came to my office and offered her support. So that was positive.
Okay. So other than the first or second day that you worked there, did you have any other positive interactions with Debbie Keither?
Not that I can recall right off the top of my head.
Okay. So reading from this document entitled Transcript, it starts and says FS. Do you, based on this document, do you know who FS is?
Based on this,
I'm just going to object to formal questions. Broadenbeg, also Foundation. I don't know who wrote this transcript. So go ahead and answer if you can.
based on how this is worded, I would say FS is me. Well, and again, I'm just reading the first line.
Okay. So it says FS colon, I am going to read this script so I stay on message because that seems the only way to get through this. Is that an accurate reading?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
I'm not sure if that was my exact words, but I did have a script when I conducted that meeting.
Okay. Did Labor Relations tell you to prepare a script?
No,
Why did you prepare a script?
so that I could not deviate from the purpose of the meeting.
Why were you concerned about deviating from the purpose of the meeting?
Because every encounter with Debbie Keither was hostile and difficult, and I didn't want her to get me off track.
Every encounter except for the first 2 days, correct?
Every encounter except for probably the first 2 days.
Probably or exactly?
Probably. I'm sure she was nice more than 2 days. I would like to think so, but I can recall the first encounter being positive.
Okay. But you can recall many, if not all, or most, if not all of her encounters with Debbie Keither as being negative, but you can only recall encounters on the first day or couple of days being positive. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
Okay. So it goes on to say FS colon, so I wanted to talk about our meeting on Monday, November 30th. In addition to the two of us, other team leaders were present as well as Portia. And again, Portia would refer to
The administrative assistant.
Portia. Okay, and why would Portia Diggins, the administrative assistant, been present on the meeting on November 30th?
At that time, she was the person who took the notes of the meeting at the meetings.
Okay, were the meetings recorded?
No.
Okay. Where are those notes now?
I believe they're in a binder.
Where's that binder located?
Not really sure. Either it's in my office or Portia has it.
Okay, where's Portia's office in relation to yours?
She's outside of my office.
Are you aware of where Debbie Keither used to work?
Yes.
Okay. After the time that Debbie Keither left, did somebody take over her office?
Eventually, someone took over her office.
And who was that?
Dr. Angela Ford.
Okay. And about how long after Debbie Keither left did Dr. Angela Ford take over her
I
office?
don't recall.
Do you think it was a long time or a short time?
I don't remember those details. I know she took over her office. I don't know how long ago it was. What time span it was.
Well, between the time that Debbie Keither left and the time that Angela Ford took over her office, do you believe that was a short time or a long time?
I don't recall. I know it wasn't immediate, but I don't know what kind of time frame existed in between the two moves.
Okay. Who is in charge of, are you aware of who authorized Miss Dr. Ford to take over Dr. Keither's office?
I believe Jennifer Mims Howell.
Did you have any knowledge of that?
Did I have knowledge that did I have knowledge of what?
Did you have knowledge of Dr. Angela Ford taking over Dr. Keither's office?
Yes.
Okay, how did you acquire that knowledge?
Jennifer Mims Howell informed me.
Okay. I'll continue from this exhibit. It says the purpose of the meeting was to discuss the business of CNI as it was a regular meeting of the team leads. Is that an accurate reading?
Yes.
Is that an accurate statement of the purpose of the November 30th meeting?
Yes.
Okay. It goes on to say during the meeting because very confrontational, disrespectful, and rude towards me, you repeatedly interrupted me and talked over me when I tried to talk to you. Is that an accurate reading?
You read it correctly.
Okay. It goes on to say, at one point I asked you if you were even interested in having a conversation and you said no. At that point, I then asked you to be quiet. Is that an accurate reading?
Yes.
Is that an accurate statement?
Yes.
Okay. Similar behavior was noted at our meeting on November 23rd when I brought up curriculum walks. I had to stop you as starting saying we don't need to do whatever people suddenly want us to do. Is that an accurate reading?
Yes.
Is that an accurate statement?
Again, I don't know when this happened. I do know that I can't recall what the specific thing that she was challenging. So I don't know if it was the curriculum walks or not.
Well, do you have any reason to believe it wasn't the curriculum walk?
I don't have any reason to believe it wasn't the curriculum walks.
Okay. And then it says, I reiterated that this is something I wanted to do. Is that accurate reading?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Because I don't recall the incident, I don't know if that's what I would have said afterwards.
Okay. But again, you have no reason to believe that this was not what you said.
Particular form questions. Broad and vague, also argumentative, but go ahead and answer if you can.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to answer that other than how I already did.
Why are you unsure of how to answer that?
Because I don't recall the specifics of this particular meeting, and so I don't know what I would have reiterated as a result of that if I don't recall what it was.
Okay. So going down to the fourth paragraph from the bottom, it says, I have talked to you before about hostility and disrespect that you show to me. I have documented these in 2 separate emails from November 6th and November 12th. Is that an accurate reading?
That's an accurate reading.
Is that an accurate statement?
Again, I don't recall what conversation happened during that meeting.
Okay. So I want to refer you back to the letter itself, your December 4th letter. And are you able to show me where in that letter it references the November 6th and November 12th emails?
I don't see those exact dates.
Okay, is there a reference to any emails in the December 4th, 2020 supervisory letter?
There is no reference to emails.
Why not?
I don't know why not. The letter does indicate the significant points of the supervisory meeting. The letter captures that. So that's why, that's what the letter does. So I don't know about these 2 that you're referring to.
Okay, so these 2 emails that you referenced in your discussion with Dr. Keither are not present in the letter or the memo regarding that conversation. Did you get instructions to do that from labor relations or something else?
First of all, I'm going to object to the form of the question is there's facts not in evidence. She didn't indicate that she discussed these two emails in that meeting. Secondly, it's broad and vague, it's compound, and it's argumentative. But go ahead and answer if you can.
I'm not sure how to answer. Again, I don't know what this transcript, this is what I can speak to, because this is the summary of the meeting that I had. So that's how I'll answer.
Okay. So we'll pull up a recording of the meeting and ask you questions about the recording. I might have it here.
I'm just gonna take it.
Just what?
I'm gonna have to go off mute. Remember my junky computer?
I might have it first.
It's just spinning.
I got it.
Read it just so I stay on message, because that seems to be the only, maybe a way to just get through this. So I wanted to talk about our meeting on Monday, November 30th. In addition to the two of us, other team leads were present, as well as Portia. The purpose of the meeting was to discuss the business of CNI, as it was a regular meeting of the team leads. During the meeting, you became very confrontational, disrespectful, and rude towards me. You repeatedly interrupted me and talked over me when I tried to talk to you. At one point, I asked you, were you even interested in having a conversation? And you said no. At that point, I asked you to then be quiet. Similar behavior was noted in our meeting on November 23rd when I brought up curriculum walks. I had to stop you as you started saying, we don't need to do whatever people suddenly want us to do. I reiterated that this was something that I wanted to do. As your supervisor, I expect you to act in a professional and civilized manner when we meet. According to the Administrative 6.07 Employee Rules of Conduct, I feel that you're in violation of that. According to our employee handbook, where it describes professional conduct, I feel you're in violation of that. The behavior you exhibited in our meetings is unacceptable and will not be tolerated. It is a violation of these policies. I've talked to you before about the hostility and the disrespect that you show me. I have documented these in two separate emails on November 6th and November 12th. Please be informed that if you exhibit this behavior again in the future, then disciplinary action may result. At this point, feel free to comment.
Just for the record, can you document or at least identify what this recording is and then who actually recorded it?
So we'll ask you, I won't, but does that sound like your voice?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any reason to believe that that is not an accurate recording of the conversation that happened between you, Dr. Keither, Portia Diggins, Michelle Wade, and Angela Ford?
That definitely is my voice. So I would imagine it's accurate. That was a recording that I wasn't aware of.
Okay. So now is there anything in the transcript that you dispute?
In the transcript, no.
No. So you do now admit to having mentioned during this meeting emails from November 6th and November 12th that you did not document on the December 4th letter. Is that right?
The November 6th and November 12th is not documented in the letter.
Okay. And why not?
What's documented in the letter is about her hostility and disrespect. And so I wasn't told that I had to put word for word in the meeting. I was told that I had to capture the purpose of the meeting and what the allegations were and what her response was. And so whether November 6th or 12th, that wasn't a new issue. It was talking about the hostility and disrespect, which I did capture in the letter.
So although you didn't use the words November 6th or November 12th, you feel because the letter describes hostility and disrespect that you did mention these emails or something else?
Check the formal questions, argumentative. She just testified that she captured the essence of the meeting. Go ahead and answer it if you can.
So I will say the same thing that I just said. I was instructed to capture the essence of the meeting, and that's what I feel like I did in the supervisory letter.
The essence. Okay. And before, when you told us that everything that was included in the letter was also mentioned at this meeting, did they tell you that did you only mean that you were recording the essence or something else?
Check the formal question. Again, it's argumentative. You're misstating your testimony. Also, compound, broad, and vague. Go ahead and answer if you can.
Not sure how to answer that any other way than I've already answered it. The letter is a summation of the meeting that I had. It highlights the main reason for the meeting. It highlights what the allegations were and what my expectations were moving forward.
And what did you document in the two separate emails on November 6th and November 12th?
At this time, I have no idea. I don't recall.
Okay. Did you ever recall what you documented?
At the time I did it, I'm sure I recalled. Again, I haven't thought about these things in quite some time. But it says I documented her disrespect and her hostility, so I'm sure it was more email exchanges showing that, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. Did you provide those emails to Calvin Furman?
I don't recall.
Did you provide those emails to Keith Posley?
No.
Did you provide those emails to Matt Chasen?
No.
Okay. Who did you provide those emails to?
I don't recall. When Debbie Keither had a complaint against me, there were many people asking me about questions, and so it would have been something that I would have responded to show that I didn't mistreat her, that it was a hostile relationship. I don't know who those people were, but when she filed her complaint against me, there were lots of questions that I had to answer.
I understood that you said that you didn't discuss Debbie Keither's complaints with anybody. Did I misunderstand that?
No, we're talking about two different things. I'm talking about her complaint against me.
Okay, who did you discuss her complaint against you?
I don't know I don't know who asked, but I know once she had her complaint, I had to respond to bullying and harassment, I believe, and I don't know who that would have been with. But I do know that's kind of the process. Someone complains, and then it gets investigated. But who did that particular investigation, I don't even recall.
Was Calvin Furman a part of that particular investigation?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so his emailing you and you sending him the December 4th letter, that would have been separate from Dr. Keither's complaints against you, correct?
I don't recall why he asked for that, so I don't know I don't know.
Okay. Do you believe that he had a reason to ask you for this document?
The Foreman Foundation, go ahead and answer if you can.
Yeah, I don't know. He asked for it and I found the letter and I sent it to him.
Okay. So we now clear that you only sent the letter to Dr. Furman, or did you send it to anybody else?
I don't recall. I believe whoever was on the investigation for the bullying and harassment, they probably would have asked for it as well. I don't know. I don't remember.
Well, you recalled not sending it to anybody, including Calvin Furman. So why are you able to remember not sending it to Calvin Furman, but you're not able to remember if you did send it to Calvin Furman?
Check the foreign question. It's broad and vague and somewhat incomprehensible, but go ahead and answer.
I
if
don't
you can.
understand what we're even asking me right now.
Okay. So you told me previously that you did not send the letter to Calvin Furman and you only spoke with Calvin Furman about Dr. Keither on one time, correct?
That's correct. That's what I recalled.
Okay, so now that we've shown you that you did in fact send the letter to Dr. Keither, the question to you is why did you recall not sending this document to Calvin Furman?
I think you misspoke. You said it sent it to Dr. Keither.
I'm
but
sorry.
You meant to Dr. to
Or
Calvin
just
Furman.
regular Furman, just attorney Furman, yeah. So you at one point you didn't recall sending this letter or to Calvin Furman or any MPS employee, but now that it turns out you did send this letter to Calvin Furman, do you now recall sending this letter to Calvin
No.
Furman? Okay. Okay. I'll direct you to page 17 of Exhibit 4.
Is that something you have? Because I don't have.
Exhibit 4 only has 3 pages.
I'm sorry, it's the ERD position statement.
Exhibit 3
3, thank you.
is Exhibit 3 we're looking at.
I don't have.
It was given back to the court reporter.
Why don't you just keep these in front of you, maybe?
That's probably a better idea.
Okay, I'm going to take you to page 16, rather, at the bottom. It says on March 6, 2020, a representative from Houghton Mifflin Harcourt.
From where?
Houghton Mifflin Harcourt.
Holton Mifflin, yeah.
Where are you reading?
Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. Emailed complainant to alert her that the digital licenses for MPS's current literary curriculum could not be renewed due to outdated technology. Is that a correct reading?
Yes.
Okay, are you aware of that? Is that a true fact?
I don't recall.
Okay, were you ever made aware that the digital licenses for MPS's current literacy curriculum could not be renewed?
I don't recall this. I know something about some outdated technology.
Okay, is that do you have reason to believe that the outdated technology is any different than the digital licenses for MPS's current literacy curriculum?
Check the Foreman Foundation. Go ahead and answer if you can.
I'm not sure.
Okay. He stated that it would not be accessible as of December 31st, 2020. Complainant emailed Dr. Holliday on June 16, 2020, approximately 3.5 months after Houghton Mifflin's initial email, to tell him that their literacy curriculum would no longer be available after December of 2020. On November 16th of 2020, complainant emailed Dr. Saffold about the situation. Dr. Saffold responded, "Wow!" exclamation point. "This context is very helpful!" Exclamation point. Is that an accurate reading?
Yes.
Are those accurate facts?
I don't recall.
What don't you recall?
I don't recall getting the email on this date. I don't recall. Wow. Like I don't, those aren't details that stand out to me. I don't recall it.
Okay, and just to contrast those details with the details of your allegations that Dr. Keither was always rude and hostile to you, those you remember, but during the same time you don't remember this conversation. Is that accurate?
Again, I'm not objecting. The question is argumentative, compound, vague, overbroad. Go ahead and answer if you can.
I don't recall these specific things that you're pointing out now. Yes, I definitely recall the hostile working relationship that was created with Dr.
Was created with?
Dr. Keither.
And to be clear, these two events are happening at the same time. That's in November and December of 2020. Is that right?
Check the form and foundation. Go ahead and answer if you can.
I'm not sure what two things you're referring to happening at the same time.
So we're contrasting this email that you don't recall on November 16th, emailing Dr. Saffold, and you responding, "Wow, this context is very helpful!" exclamation point. We're contrasting that with your comments of being able to remember with great detail your allegations against Dr. Keither being rude and hostile. So my question to you is, why can you remember the one set of circumstances but not the other set of circumstances, even though they're happening at approximately the same time?
Check the form, broad and vague, argumentative, compound. Go ahead and answer if you can, and foundation.
Okay.
I don't recall the specifics of this email that you're referencing. I clearly recall how Dr. Keither treated me. That was a personal attack on me. I remember that. This, what you're referring to here, is not personal, so I don't recall the specifics of it.
Well, is it an impersonal attack or is it something else?
Is what an impersonal
Wow, this context is very helpful.
Check the form.
I don't know what
questions. Argumentative. Go ahead and answer.
I don't know what that means.
Well, do you believe that wow, the statement, "Wow, this context is very helpful," do you believe that that's rude or argumentative?
Same objections. Argumentative, overbroad. Go ahead.
I'm still confused. My statement is not argumentative, no, or rude.
Okay. And would that be a response to a statement that was rude or argumentative?
I'm going to object to foundation, as this witness doesn't recall the email with wow in it, so I don't know how she could comment on a prior statement that was associated with this email. So, foundation, form, go ahead and answer if you can.
I'm not sure how to answer.
Okay. So based on your life experience, is the phrase "wow!" exclamation point, "this context is very helpful!" exclamation point, would that be in response to a negative or a positive comment?
Same objections.
I'm not sure how to answer.
Why are you not sure how to
Because
answer?
I don't understand what you're asking. I don't recall this email chain. So I don't know what came before it, what came after it. I'm looking at a sentence out of nowhere. Wow, this context is very helpful. So I don't know how to respond.
Okay, but so November 16th, that's a date that you reference an email in your meeting with Dr. Keither that you said that she was being rude and hostile. Isn't that correct?
I don't know what you're talking about. What email am I referring to now?
In the transcript of your discussion with Debbie Keither, your supervisory discussion, you referenced 2 emails. One of them is November 16th, correct?
I don't know if you can point me to where that is.
I think he's talking about Exhibit 4, the transcript.
Right, the letter that you wrote, correct.
Where is it?
Actually, you're talking about the transcript that someone else wrote.
Fair enough.
So now that I have what you're talking about,
So Exhibit 4, which is the transcript that we don't know who authored.
okay, what are you asking me about that?
Okay, doesn't it say that Dr. Keither sent you a rude email on November 16th of 2020?
Where does it say that? I don't see that it says that.
It's towards the bottom. That's true.
It's the November.
It says November 6th and November 12th? Is that what you're talking about?
Okay. So in between those time, we're talking about November 16th, okay? And is it clear to you that wow, this context is very helpful, that Debbie Keither is being helpful in this email response or not being helpful?
Again, check the foundation, but go ahead and answer if you can.
I can't answer. I have no idea.
Okay, but you deny that you said the words, wow, this context is very helpful?
I don't know if I said, I don't know what this is pulled from. I don't know.
Could you please repeat the question?
But do you deny that you said the words, wow, this context is very helpful?
Can you please answer that question?
Jack, ask and answer, but go ahead and answer again.
I don't recall.
Okay. So moving on, it says on December 23rd, 2020, Dr. Saffold sent an email to complainant asking about the plan for the literacy curriculum for January through June of 2021. Dr. Saffold was under the impression that the complainant had put together a plan to get us through the year. Is that an accurate reading?
Yes.
Is that an accurate statement?
That looks accurate.
Okay, it goes on to say, complainant was obviously aware that the current curriculum was scheduled to expire at the end of the calendar year 2020. Is that an accurate reading?
Yes.
Is that an accurate statement?
Check the foundation. Go ahead and answer if you can.
I'm not sure about. It's hard to take these things out of context, but it sounds like this is what I've already discussed, the issue that came to a head with me thinking that there was a plan to get us through, seeing that the literacy manager was aware that the curriculum was ending. So that sounds accurate.
Okay. And I guess and as the literary manager, it was her
As a literary man?
literacy manager. It was her responsibility to ensure that there was a literacy curriculum that students could access. Is that a correct reading?
Yes.
Okay. And the literacy manager is who?
At the time, it was Dr. Debbie Keither.
Okay. And we already established that you were also responsible to ensure that there was a literacy curriculum that the students could access, correct?
Check the forum questions. Go ahead, Meg. Also, I believe it misstates her testimony, but go ahead and answer if you can.
I'm not quite sure how to answer that. Ultimately, all curriculum falls under the oversight of the senior director.
Okay, so the senior director was ultimately responsible for making sure there was a literacy curriculum that the students could access, correct?
Correct.
Okay, going on, it says Dr. Saffold acknowledged that she may have missed it in a prior email, due in part to the volume of emails that complainant sends, and asked complainant to resend it if that was the case. Is that an accurate reading?
That's an accurate reading.
Is that an accurate statement?
I'm not sure if it's an accurate statement, but based on what it says, I do know that there's been a volume of emails. If the complainant here is Debbie Keither, so I can't read into this.
Okay, well, did you acknowledge that you may have missed a prior email about the literacy curriculum?
I don't recall this. I don't recall. I don't know.
Well, do you have any reason to believe that the city attorney's office is not telling the truth when they sign their name to this statement?
Check the form of the question. It's argumentative. Also, broad and vague and lacks foundation. Go ahead and answer if you can.
Yeah, I don't know how to answer. I don't know what context this is. I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know how to answer?
Well, I'm saying I've looked at this for a few minutes here, and I'm trying to get who said what, when, so I can't answer.
You can't answer my question because you're unclear of who said what when? Is that what you're saying?
I'm sorry, I'm just going to object. This line of questioning is you're asking her to comment on something that she didn't put together. So how is she supposed to vouch for the veracity of it?
Well, either you did acknowledge that you may have missed a prior email or you didn't. So that's the question is the city attorney telling the truth or are they not telling the truth when they say that you acknowledge that she may have missed it in a prior email?
Again, argumentative, lacks foundation. You're asking this witness to comment on something she did not write.
Right, we're asking her to comment on what she acknowledged.
No,
That's a
she
different
didn't.
thing. We're not talking about whether she wrote it or not. We're talking about whether she acknowledged it.
She said she doesn't recall this.
Okay.
She didn't acknowledge it, so she can't vouch for whether it's truthful or not because she does not recall it. It's as simple as that.
Again, so we're moving past that objection. My question to you is, do you have any reason to believe that the city attorney's office is lying when they say that Dr. Saffold acknowledged that she may have missed it in a prior email?
Same objections. Go ahead and answer if you can.
I don't have a comment on that.
Are you refusing to answer the question?
No, I don't. I've answered it, and I don't know how else to answer it. I don't recall this particular incident, so I don't know. I don't have an opinion about the district attorney or whoever wrote this. I don't have an opinion about that.
So you have no recollection whatsoever of whether or not you've missed a prior email regarding the literacy curriculum?
I have no comment on this. Again, I don't live and breathe what happened this long ago. I don't recall.
Okay. When you're saying comment, that appears to me like you're saying I'm not answering. Or do you mean something else?
Oh, wait, first of all, that's argumentative. I moved to strike that comment because she didn't say she's not answering. She said she can't because she doesn't recall. You gotta stop putting words in her mouth.
She said two things, to be clear.
No.
So she also said that she couldn't recall, but she said she didn't know how to answer that, or she wouldn't comment. She's not permitted not to comment.
She said she didn't recall, therefore she cannot comment.
Is that your answer?
Go answer. My objections are remade. Go ahead and answer the best way you can to this.
I don't recall this, so I don't have any comments towards it.
Okay. It goes on to say that complainant responded 14 minutes later. She took a hostile and defensive tone, stating that she apologized for the inconvenience related to the volume of email business that this level of work requires. Is that an accurate reading?
It is.
Okay, is that an accurate statement?
I don't know if it's accurate or not. I don't remember. I don't recall this dialogue, or who's the she. I don't recall.
Are you unable to tell from the context who she is?
Yes, at this moment I'm unable to because I haven't had time to look at this. Complainant responded 14 minutes late. I don't know. I don't recall this.
Okay. Going on, it says complainant stated that she was confused and asked if Dr. Saffold was requesting information for learning A through Z because she wanted to ensure that she didn't send the wrong email and just add to the volume that you had already indicated is too much. Is that an accurate reading?
It's an accurate reading.
Is that accurate fact?
I have no idea.
Okay. Complainant explicitly said that she was not answering questions from her subordinates because complainant explicitly said that she was not answering, I'll start over. Complainant explicitly said that she was not answering questions from her subordinates because she did not want to communicate with Dr. Saffold for fear of being labeled combative. Is that an accurate reading?
It is.
Okay. Did Dr. Keither tell you that she was afraid of being labeled combative?
I don't recall.
Okay. It goes on to say, despite the fact that Dr. Saffold clearly asked complainant what the plan was for the literacy curriculum, complainant ended her email by stating that she was confused by all that you need to resent to you so that you are able to understand what steps you need to take. Is that an accurate reading?
It is.
Okay. Is that an accurate statement?
I don't recall.
Okay. Have you reviewed your December 23rd, 2020 email to Dr. Keither prior to this deposition?
I have not.
Okay. It goes on to say, complainant responded and asked for Dr. Saffold to please just let me know how I can help you with your vision and what you would like me to do as a plan, including what expectations you have for timelines of format. Is that an accurate reading?
It is.
Okay. Can you tell me how, please just let me know how I can explain or how I can help with your vision and what you would like me to do as a plan, including what expectations you have for timeliness of format, if that's rude or hostile?
I'm going to check the form of the questions, broad and vague, also foundation. We don't know if this witness even recalls a statement, but go ahead and answer if you can.
I don't know how to respond to that. Again, all of this is the same context of a interaction that I don't recall. I don't recall this level of detail.
How do you believe the city attorney's office was able to get this level of detail?
I don't know. I would imagine they did interviews, investigation. I don't know.
But they didn't interview you.
Not that I recall.
Okay. And if the city attorney's office said that Matt Chasen's report was inferior to the city attorney's report because they were able to interview you, that would be a false statement?
I'm going to object to the form of the questions. Argumentative, also compound. Go ahead and answer if you can.
I'm not sure how to answer what Matt Chasen. I don't know how to answer that.
Why don't you know how to answer that?
Well, because it sounds like you're asking me to speculate, which on something that I don't have. I don't feel comfortable doing.
What am I asking you to speculate on?
Well, it sounded like you just asked me something about Matt Chasen reporting something somewhere. I don't even follow the train of what you just asked me, but I don't feel comfortable asking that because I wasn't there and I don't know.
Okay, so can you repeat the question, please?
If the city attorney's office said that Matt Chasen's report was inferior to the city attorney's report because they were able to interview you, that would be a false statement.
Again, object argumentative, that improper hypothetical, and just broad, vague, and compound. Go ahead and answer if you can.
I can't answer. I don't know how to answer that.
Goes on to say, Dr. Saffold emailed complainant again on December 29th, 2020 to remind her that she was still waiting for a response regarding the literacy curriculum for 2021-2022 school year. Is that accurate?
You read it accurately.
Okay, did you send Debbie Keither an email on December 29th, 2020 to remind her that that you were still waiting for a response regarding the literacy curriculum.
I don't recall.
Is this the email that you took to Dr. Posley or something else?
Actually, I don't remember what the email was that I took to Dr. Posley at this moment.
Okay. Thanks. There we go. Okay, one for you. One for you. Do you have the exhibit?
6.
Okay. And on the first page of that, what is this?
It looks like an email from Debbie Keither.
And who's it to?
Me.
Okay. Have you seen this document before?
I don't recall it, but it looks like it was sent to me, so I'm sure I got it.
Did you read all the emails that were sent to you?
I read every email that's sent to me.
Okay. And is this the document that you took to Dr. Posley?
I don't recall what actual document that I took to Dr. Posley.
Well, you said before that you took an email to Dr. Posley including supporting documents, correct?
I took an email to Dr. Posley. The one that he read, the initial one was my question, so I'm assuming this isn't, I don't know if this is it or not. The original one was my question to her to see if my communication was clear.
Okay, let's go to page 2 then. In the middle of page 2, there's a email from you to Dr. Keither on December 29th, 2020. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And it says, "Hi, Debbie, I'm still waiting for a response from you regarding the literacy curriculum." Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Is this the email you took to Keith Posley?
Again, I don't know what the actual email was to him, but this one has direct questions that I was asking her, so it may have been.
Okay. Do you have any reason to believe that it's not the email?
I don't know if it's the email or not. The email to him, I was trying to see if my questions were clear. And this one has several clear questions that I think are clear. So it could have been this email, but I can't say for sure if it was this one.
Okay. What are the questions that you think are clear?
What are the questions in this email that I think are clear?
Yes.
What I don't know is if we have a plan for 21, 22, 22. Do we? What support do you need from me to make sure we have the curriculum we need?
Okay. And what support was needed?
I that's what I was asking.
Well, did you get a response ever?
Again, I don't recall all of these back and forth email exchanges. What I recall vaguely is I got a lot of questions back. I was asking, what do you need? And I was getting more questions back. It was very, we were going around and round in circles. I was asking, again, this may have been it because to me this is clear. Do we have a curriculum in place? What support do you need? And I did not get an answer back,
Okay.
if I recall correctly.
So after you didn't get an answer back, then you took this email to Dr. Posley, and then Dr. Keither was involuntarily transferred to Washington High School, correct?
Check the former question, broad and vague. Also misstates your prior testimony about the email exchange you provided to Dr. Posley, but go ahead and answer if you can.
So I don't know what are the incidents. All I know is there was an exchange between Debbie Keither and I around the curriculum that was ending. I was asking, what do we need to do to make sure we have a curriculum in place? Dr. Keither continued to ask me questions and what do you want to do? What's your, and it wasn't saying what we were going to do after she had already said that, she had been trying to tell people this a long time ago. So I assumed that she had a plan, that she had some ideas, and she wasn't willing to share them or talk about that. It was just combative, back and forth, and I panicked and I went to Dr. Posey and said, the kids are going to be without a curriculum. So I don't know if this is the email exchange or not.
Okay, but to be clear, so at this point, when you went to Dr. Posley and said you don't want the kids to be without the curriculum, after that point, did Debbie Keither work on the curriculum anymore?
I don't recall, because I'm not sure from that incident when it was that she was transferred. I don't know the time frame in between.
But you were the supervisor, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and you did work on the curriculum plan with others, correct?
Not sure of the question. I didn't work on a curriculum plan with anyone. I don't work on the curriculum plans. The specialists work on the plans.
Okay, but you do have knowledge of whether or not there was funds allocated for the curriculum plan, correct?
I actually don't recall that at this moment. If we needed more funds or what happened, or if the company gave us a extension. I don't recall the details at this moment. I haven't looked back at any of this.
Is the purchase of curriculum materials for an entire school district, is that something that's inexpensive or expensive?
Check the former question. Broad and vague, also foundation. Go ahead and answer if you can.
The purchase of materials, I guess, can be expensive.
Okay, and is that something that the board would have to approve or not?
Not just for use of materials, no. The board approves like adoptions.
And would they approve the funds to purchase the materials?
It depends on what the materials are.
Okay, if the board doesn't approve the materials, who would approve the materials?
Again, it depends on what you're talking about for materials. If it's below a certain amount, it doesn't need board approval.
Okay, what's that amount?
I don't know offhand. I want to say, I don't know offhand, so I'm not going to say.
Well, isn't it your job to go to the board to get approvals for curriculum?
We don't go to the board for everything that we use in the district. We do not.
Okay. If a contract is over $5,000, are you required to get approval from the board?
I don't know the exact amount.
Okay, but it is your job to approve funding and to ask for funding for the curriculum and instruction department, correct?
It is my job to do what?
Request funding for the curriculum and instruction department.
Generally, I guess. That hasn't been there's a budget that the curriculum instruction department has that we use. So I don't know.
Can Dr. Keither make a contract on her own?
She could initiate a contract, and curriculum specialist or the manager, in her case, they would be the ones that sponsor. So like when you talk about going to the board, the sponsors go to the board and I support them.
Okay. What does you support them mean?
The way we handle board items is whoever the sponsor is, they're the ones who create the document. And they are the ones our procurement department actually presents all of the contracts. But if there's questions about the contract, the sponsor is the one that's supposed to be there at the board meeting to be able to answer questions about whatever the item is. And as the director, I'm in the room as well.
Okay, do you get contract proposals?
Do I get contract proposals?
Correct.
Yes.
And did you get a contract proposal for McDougall Little Learning A through Z?
I don't recall.
Okay. So I'm gonna point you to the next page in the exhibit, and I understand that's an email sent on December 29th, and somebody is sending it on your behalf. Is that accurate?
Is this what we're talking about?
I have it as the first word say from Candid Leads Bounce at list.
Okay. So what are you asking me about this?
Is that a document from you, and was it sent on December 29th?
It looks like it is.
Okay. What is, let me just read it out. Hello, exclamation point. I understand that there was an incorrect Thursday update posted a while ago. I was not aware of that, and I'm not sure how that happened. If you look on the website, the message is correct. We are not using the at-a-glance guides after this year. The same message was supposed to go in both places. Is that an accurate reading?
Yes.
Okay. What is the Thursday update?
Where the district uses to post current happenings or things that are happening in the district.
Okay. And was there a mistake on the Thursday post, or what does an incorrect Thursday update mean?
Again, I don't remember these details. This is way back in 2020. But according to this email, it sounds like I was sending the email to let my team know I did not change the plan that we had agreed on.
Okay. And what was the plan that you had agreed on?
That, well, let me read this because I don't remember this stuff.
Well, I'll just keep going. It says, I did not change the plan. We are not creating these at-a-glance guides after this year. Please feel free to let me know when something needs to be addressed or clarified. I could have cleared this up for you weeks ago. I will get a correction printed. And as I stated, the website itself does have the right information. Sorry for any confusion that this has caused.
Yep, that.
Okay, who made this mistake?
I don't recall who made the mistake at this point, but I didn't, because I was letting my team know that, again, I think something happened. Again, I'm trying to remember as I'm looking at this now. There was something with these at-a-glance guides that the team put together. We had agreed when I came there, this is something that they were already in motion. Everybody was doing it. I had agreed that after they explained to me what they were and how they worked, we agreed we'd get through this year because it was something that they had already started with the school. But the following year, we would not do that anymore. Apparently, someone saw something. It must have been in a Thursday update. I don't remember where it was, but nobody pointed it out to me until there was some kind of back and forth. And so I was addressing the team for them to let me know when something needs to be addressed, because I could have cleared this up. It was something that happened that I wasn't aware of. I was letting them know I did not change the plan, And so I don't know who put the Thursday update.
Do you update the Thursday or do you create the Thursday updates directly?
No.
Do you have somebody else do it?
The Thursday updates come from folks who need a Thursday, who need something to be updated in the Thursday update. So if a curriculum specialist has a special math pilot that they're doing or whatever they're doing, they would write that Thursday update, and I would approve it if it comes from one of my direct reports.
Okay.
But I don't get all of the Thursday updates, just from the people that report to me.
And did you approve this Thursday update?
I don't recall. I don't recall.
Okay. Well, is this a Thursday update from your direct report or somebody else?
I would imagine it wasn't from my direct reports because I wasn't aware that something wrong had gone out.
Okay, but the only way, according to your testimony, that you would have been aware is if somebody had pointed it out to you. Is that right?
The only way that I would have been aware if one of my direct reports wrote it would have been me approving. I approve my direct reports, is what I'm saying. So I don't think it came from one of my direct reports.
Okay, so if you had approved this Thursday update and it was incorrect, that would be your fault, right?
Check the forum question, improper hypothetical. Rod and Vig, go ahead and answer if you can.
Yeah, I don't understand the question.
Well, let's just repeat the question if you will.
So if you had approved this Thursday update and it was incorrect, that would be your fault, right?
If I approved the Thursday update and it was incorrect, I don't know if it's my fault, but I'm not sure how to answer that. I don't recall having approving this Thursday update. Thursday updates don't just come from my department. In this particular case, based on this email, it didn't come from one of my direct reports, so I wouldn't have been the one approving it.
But again, the reason you said you didn't know if it came from your direct reports was based on what?
I understand, because I'm saying I understand that there was an incorrect Thursday update posted a while ago. I was not aware of that. So it sounds to me like I'm saying there was something that happened that I wasn't aware of.
Okay.
And I said I'm not sure how that happened.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. So you don't have any knowledge one way or the other if a direct report created this Thursday update or not, correct?
I've just been making some assumptions.
Okay. So without making any assumptions, can you please answer my last question, which is, if you approved a Thursday update and it was incorrect, wouldn't that be your fault?
Can't object to argumentative and inappropriate hypothetical, but go ahead and answer if you can.
I'm not sure how to answer that.
Why are you unsure how to answer that?
Well, because I'm trying to follow if this, then that. I don't recall this Thursday update coming from me or from any of my direct reports.
Okay, have you ever approved a Thursday update?
I approve Thursday updates from my direct reports.
Okay, so if you did approve a Thursday update and it created, had incorrect information, that would be your fault, correct?
Same objections. Go ahead and answer if you can.
I don't know how else to answer that.
Why not?
Because I've tried to answer it 3 different ways. If I don't recall this particular Thursday update.
The question has nothing to do with whether you recall this Thursday update. The question is, if you approve a Thursday update and it has incorrect information on it, who else besides you would be responsible?
Same objections. Go ahead and answer if you can.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to answer that. Thursday updates are changed all the time. I don't think it's a fault. They get changed. They get updated. They go through a chain of events. I approve my department. They go to the chief. The chief approves them, they go to someone else and they do the final approval. So there's a long line of approvals for Thursday updates.
Okay, would you be required to approve a Thursday update if you didn't have responsibility over what you had approved?
Check the former question. Go ahead and answer if you can.
I'm not sure how to answer that
Why are you not sure how to answer
because
that?
I'm not sure what the question is.
Okay. Are you confused by the question?
I'm confused by your question.
Can you please repeat the question?
Why would you be required to approve a Thursday update if you didn't have responsibility over what you had approved?
I'm not sure how to answer that. I approve Thursday updates to, I don't know, for things coming out of, from my direct reports to, there's a format that we're asked to go by. Is it, does it include dates? Does it include, and things like that. So each department director is asked to check for the appropriate format of a Thursday update.
Are you also required to check whether the information is accurate?
Of course.
Okay. So, looking at the recipients of this email, I see Celeste O. Chinogor. She's a direct report, correct?
Correct.
I see Nuncia Buck. She's a direct report,
I'm
correct?
sorry,
Yeah.
who was that?
Nunciata.
Nunciata. Nuntiata. Buck. Buck. And she is a direct report?
Yes.
Okay. And what about Tanya Evans?
Yes.
Okay. And Jenny Eckstein?
Yes.
Okay. So you sent this letter to all your direct reports. Based on that information, do you believe that this was a Thursday update posed to you by a direct report or something else?
I still don't know who posed the Thursday update. The other people on this email where it says CNI leads are the other members of the CNI team. I vaguely recall there was some conversation about how I betrayed the team by saying that we were doing the at-a-glance guides or something or another. And so I was not aware of that. So I was addressing the whole team. I said we weren't going to do the at-a-glance guides, and we're not. Apparently there was something in the Thursday update that is not true. If you look on the website, what we talked about is on the website. And so I was addressing the team because, at this time, there was a lot of, I felt, trying to catch me in everything. And so as soon as I heard about this Thursday update, I addressed the whole team to let them know we did not change the plan. But I don't know where the Thursday update came from. It could have been, we're not the only department that makes updates.
So you are clear that the incorrect information on this Thursday update was not your fault. Is that right?
I'm not clear on that. I'm not saying that because I don't know where the Thursday update came from. If someone made a Thursday update from my department and I didn't catch it, then I guess technically it would be my fault. But I don't know where the Thursday update came from.
Why did you say sorry for any confusion this has caused?
Because it's confusing for me to have told the team that we would not use the at-a-glance guides anymore, and for them to have seen something posted in the Thursday updates that would be on the contrary to that.
Okay, were the Thursday updates printed as well as being on the website?
You can print Thursday updates.
Were these Thursday updates printed?
I don't know.
Well, it says, I will get a correction printed. Does that refresh your memory?
Well, that doesn't mean physical print. It means I would get an update for the next Thursday update so that the district would know we're not doing these at-a-glance guides anymore.
Well, you repeat several times to saying that this information is correct on the web. Is that right?
What are you referring to?
As I stated, the website itself does have the right information.
So now what's your question?
So my question is if it's posted on the website, why would you be and repost it again on the website? Why would you be saying, as I stated, the website itself does have the right information?
Because we're talking about two different things. We're talking about wherever the CNI website is, I was saying, pointing them to there, that what we agreed on was posted on the CNI website, but the Thursday update is where it was printed differently.
Okay, and so the Thursday update could be both printed and virtual. Is that right?
Thursday updates are virtual.
Okay.
You as an individual can print it out, but they're virtual.
And is there one person who sends out the Thursday updates?
I don't know how they get sent out. I think communications pushes them out.
Well, after you approve them, what happens next?
After I approve them for my department, they would go to the chief.
Okay.
And he ultimately, at that time, Dr. Holliday, would have approved all of the ones coming out of the Office of Academics.
And this email is sent on December 29th, 2020 at 6 p.m. Is that 6:11 p.m.? Is that right?
So it looks like.
And would you have been working at that 6:11 p.m.?
I'm sure I was.
Okay. So I'm going to turn you now to page 18 of Exhibit 3.
Okay, which document? What package?
This is the ERD response.
What package should I be looking at?
That's one.
Position statement.
That is exhibit 3. There you go.
3.
And I don't know which one this goes with. I can't
This
keep.
goes with this, I think. Yes.
Where are you pointing me to?
Page 18, second paragraph. Okay, it says Dr. Saffold approached Dr. Posley shortly after receiving complainant's email at 1:43 p.m. on December 29th to discuss the continued problems that she was having with complainant. Is that an accurate statement? Reading, I mean.
It's an accurate reading.
Okay. And so based on this statement, is it fair to say that the email that you brought to Dr. Posley was Dr. Keither's email sent to you at 1:43 p.m. on December 29th?
Again, I don't know what email. If it's one at 1:43, I know, or if it was December 29th. I approached Dr. Posley about the email exchange that I was having with Debbie Keither.
Okay, but based on this document, does that give you any insight into when Dr. Keither's email would have been sent to you?
It doesn't refresh my memory anymore, but I don't have a reason to dispute if it was 1:43 or so, but I don't recall.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Saffold showed Dr. Posley the emails to make sure that she was not unprofessional or otherwise out of line in her communications with complainant. Dr. Posley stated that Dr. Saffold was repeatedly asking a straightforward question. What is the plan for literacy for the 2021-2022 school year? And complainant was refusing to give a straightforward answer. Is that an accurate reading?
Yes.
Does that statement comport with your previous statements that Dr. Posley only said okay in response to your communications to him about Dr. Keither?
Check the form of the question. Go ahead and answer if you can.
I don't. The two separate things. So when I look at this statement, Dr. Posley said that Dr. Saffold was. Give a straight answer. No, I didn't. Dr. Posley wouldn't have said okay at this point. The first, as I stated, the first thing that I showed Dr. Posley was my direct question to get his opinion on that. After,
Did he give you his opinion?
yeah, he said it seemed clear to him. It seemed like it was a straightforward answer. And then I showed him the back and forth exchange and told him there's no way she's going to work with me. There's no way she's going to do anything. The kids are going to be without a curriculum. I don't know what to do. And then that's when he said, okay. He folded up my stuff that I gave him, put it in a pile, and said, okay. And that was my only interaction. So I don't know if the okay came here yet.
Okay, and it says, Going further on, it says Dr. Posley agreed that complainant's behavior and refusal to cooperate with Dr. Saffold was beginning to put students at risk of not having a literacy curriculum and that she needed to be transferred so that the work of CNI could continue. Is that an accurate reading?
Yes.
Is that the same thing as okay?
Well, I
I
don't,
guess I'm object the form of the question is broad and vague also. This is Dr. Posley speaking. It's not, we don't know if he's speaking to Dr. Saffold or not with this quote, so it's out of context, but go ahead and answer if you can.
I thank you for that answer. Are you able to answer the question?
my answer to the question would be, I don't know what Dr. Posley did after we finished our conversation, but when we shared the email, he said, okay. We didn't go into whatever this is here, but he could have said that. I don't know.
But he didn't say to you at any time that Dr. Keither's behavior and refusal to cooperate with you was beginning to put the students at risk of not having a literacy curriculum, and that Dr. Keither needed to be transferred so that the work of CNI could continue.
No. Not that I, no, that sounds like what I said to him.
Okay, so you talked to Dr. Posley about reassigning.
No, not the last part. I talked to Dr. Posley about her not cooperating with me and the students being at risk of having a literacy curriculum.
And to be clear, did you mean not having a literacy curriculum?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I went into his office to talk to him about. But we didn't talk about the transfer or the CNI work continuing. We didn't talk about that. We talked about what's prior to that, and that came from me. That's
Okay.
why I went down to his office.
And when did you learn that Dr. Posley wanted or thought that Dr. Keither needed to be transferred so that the work of CNI could continue?
I didn't know anything about any of that. I think, well, I'm not sure how I knew that she was being transferred. It may have been from her. I don't know, but he didn't have a conversation with me about it.
Okay. The ultimate sentence of that paragraph says the superintendent's office had heard Dr. Saffold's side of things, and Mr. Furman wanted to hear complainant's side of the story. Did you, let's see.
I don't know where you're reading from.
Okay, so this is the middle paragraph, second full paragraph, and the last sentence there.
Okay.
It said the superintendent's office, meaning the superintendent, I suppose, had heard Dr. Saffold's side of things. Does that refer to only your meeting, or are you aware of that, whether that refers to your meeting with Dr. Posley or something else?
Check the foundation. Go ahead and answer if you can.
I don't know what that's referring to.
Okay. Were you ever consulted about Dr. Keither's reassignment to Washington High School?
No.
Did you ever do a executive review of Dr. Keither's status in March of 2021?
No. I'm not even sure what that is.
Okay. Have you ever assaulted Dr. Angela Ford?
I'm sorry, could you ask that?
Have you ever assaulted Dr. Angela Ford?
Check the form of the question. Broad and vague. Also argumentative. Go ahead and answer if you can.
No.
Have you ever inappropriately touched Dr. Angela Ford?
Same objections.
No.
Okay. Have you ever pushed Dr. Angela Ford out of the way to get to some item of food?
Check the form of the question. Argumentative and not relevant to this particular proceeding, but go ahead and answer if you can.
Yeah, I don't recall what you're referring to. I do recall what you're referring to, a jestful situation with kids in the special needs students bringing the snack carts. I had never seen them doing that before. We're out in the hallway, and I remember joking with Dr. Ford and saying, "Wait, let me go first," or the snack cart is here, or something like that. But that was the gist of that.
And did you touch her during that interaction?
I believe I touched her.
Okay. Was that interaction caught on video to your knowledge?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Prior to your touching of Dr. Ford, had you written Dr. Ford up for any reason?
I'm going to reject this line of questioning. It doesn't involve this particular action. And if you're taking testimony for another action, that's inappropriate. So I'm going to instruct her at this point not to answer that question.
Are you asserting a privilege?
I'm saying it's not part of this action.
Okay. So are you refusing to answer this question?
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
And based on his statements, are you refusing to answer this question?
Based on my instruction,
It's on
yes.
his counsel, yes.
Okay. Well, you are clear that you can't instruct, just raise an objection and instruct your client not to respond.
Well, you understand also you can't take discovery in another case, in this case.
So your remedy there would be to object and deal with it that way.
You know
Your
what?
instruction to her not to answer the question is completely inappropriate.
You can say that if you want to.
I have said it.
You can take it to wherever you want to, but it's inappropriate and you're doing it on purpose. You know that this is not a part of this case. So why are you going into it?
Well, it goes to her credibility.
No, it doesn't.
That's, I think
No,
we
it doesn't.
disagree
You're going into another case. You're trying to get information for another client. It's inappropriate. So I'm not allowing her to answer questions regarding another case. You can depose her in that case regarding those allegations.
I certainly can.
Excellent. Move on.
So again, you refusing to answer my question based on his objection and his advice. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
Okay. And you didn't hear your attorney cite any privilege. Is that correct?
First of all, she's not a lawyer, so it doesn't make a difference.
Okay. Can you answer the question, please?
Foundation, go ahead and answer if you can.
I'm not sure what I'm answering at this point.
Can you repeat the question?
You didn't hear your attorney cite any privilege, is that correct?
Again, Foundation, go ahead and answer if you can.
I am following the advice of my attorney at this moment.
Could you please answer the question that I asked?
I'm not sure how to answer that question.
How are you unsure of how to answer the question? Do you not understand the words?
I want to object to Foundation. This individual is not a lawyer. She wouldn't know what a privilege is. So, Foundation, go ahead and answer the question if you can.
I'm not able to answer the question.
Would you be able to recognize if you heard the word privilege?
Again, object argumentative. Go ahead and answer if you can.
I'm not able to answer that.
Okay, why are you not able to answer that?
Foundation, can we move on to something else? You can move the court, figure out what you need to do, but this is completely harassment now. Because you are asking her questions about a completely different client and a completely different case, and now you're harassing her about instructions from counsel.
Do you believe you've answered my question?
To the best of my ability, yes.
Okay. And you were not sure on how to answer my question of whether or not your attorney just cited to privilege? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. I have this one. All right. here's the next exhibit. And for you. Okay. So page 2 of this, as I understand it, is an email from Calvin Furman to Matt Chasen on Wednesday, January 6th. Subject, re-follow-up. Is that what you read?
Am I on the wrong sheet? That's
Second
not
page.
Second page, please.
Okay.
Okay. And does it say, hi, Matt, the conversation about possibly reassigning her started in mid-December, I believe. We brought in Therese, who communicated with the city attorney's office. I don't know when exactly he asked Dr. Cotton about reassignment options. The actual ask to speak with Miss Keither was that day, December 29th, after Dr. Saffold repeated concerns about Miss Keither's behavior and provided an email where Dr. Saffold asked a question and Miss Keither's response was a little belligerent and included a rant about an error Dr. Saffold made.
About a what?
An error Dr. Saffold made in a Thursday update post. Is that an accurate reading?
Yes.
Is that an accurate statement of the facts?
I wouldn't know about the conversation about reassigning. I don't know about those details.
Okay. But you are aware of what details?
I'm aware of providing providing an email about the last part, that I asked a question and Ms. Keither's response was a little bit, including a rant about an error. Dr. Seth, I'm aware of that.
Okay, so you were aware of the error now. Okay.
No, I'm not aware of the error. I'm aware of that I was in the office about an email exchange that I had with Ms. Keither.
Okay, and would you describe the email exchange as a little belligerent and a rant?
Sure.
Okay. Let's look at the bottom of that page. This is an email on Monday, January 4th, 2021, from Calvin Furman to Matt Chasen regarding follow-up. It says, hi, Matt. This follows our telephone conversation where we discussed what led to the reassignment of Dr. Keither. As I indicated, there were concerns about Ms. Keither's behavior and actions, particularly towards Dr. Saffold. As I had limited conversations with Dr. Saffold on this matter, I previously forwarded to you a supervisory letter from Dr. Saffold to Ms. Keither regarding inappropriate behavior. Ms. Keither exhibited in a team meeting. Dr. Saffold has expressed concerns to me in passing as she was entering an academics meeting with Dr. Posley and others. She looked and sounded defeated. Is that an accurate reading?
It is.
Is that an accurate statement?
I don't recall that.
What don't you recall?
Well, I don't recall giving him the supervisory letter, even though you showed that earlier. And I don't, expressing concerns in passing, I don't know what any of that means.
Well, do you believe it happened or that it didn't happen?
I don't recall this.
Okay, and what does express concerns to me in passing mean to you today?
It doesn't mean anything to me today. I don't recall expressing concerns to, who is concerns to? Calvin? I don't recall that.
Okay, and when Calvin Furman says, I have had limited conversation with Dr. Saffold on this matter, is that accurate or inaccurate?
That would be accurate. I didn't have conversations with Calvin Furman.
And did you say accurate or inaccurate? I'm sorry.
That would be accurate. I did not have
Okay,
conversations with him.
so it's fair to say that either Calvin Furman or you have this statement wrong.
Well, he says I've had limited conversation on this matter I would say that's true because we didn't have. Well, I guess I would say it's not true because I don't recall having any conversation with it. So little to none. I'm not sure. I don't recall having conversations. But again, based on what you presented earlier, it sounds like he asked me for an email. So I guess if you're counting that, then it would be limited conversation.
So it's fair to say that your final answer is that there was limited conversations between you and Calvin Furman?
Sure. If we're going to include him asking me to send the email, then that would be limited conversation.
Okay. And then when he says, Dr. Saffold has expressed concerns to me in passing, that categorically did not happen, is that correct?
I don't recall that.
Okay. And when it says entering an academics meeting with Dr. Posley, had you ever participated in an academics meeting with Dr. Posley?
Those would be the meetings that I referred to before for the Principal Institute. Those are the only meetings that I had with Dr. Posley and the other chiefs.
Besides the one-on-one you had with Dr. Posley on December 29th, correct?
Besides the one-on-one, whatever day it was, correct.
Okay.
Take a break again when you do that.
Let's take a break.
Okay, stand by. We're going off the record. The time is 2:58 p.m. This is the end of meeting unit number 3.